And we're back. New Pac City, Atlanta Hawks fans worldwide. Welcome back to your favorite Hawks Hoopcast. It is Wednesday, game day, and November 3rd, 2021. Big one against the Nets here. And I'm your intrepid host today. I go by Lou Starsky, a.k.a. chairman of the boards. And we have a great show today. Thanks for making us a part of the pregame today. We're going to talk about this next Nets and Hawks game. And we're going to see if the Hawks are going to be contenders or part of the elite conversation, or we're going to fall back into the middle of the pack conversation. And we'll definitely bring the guys on to talk about that. But first, like, share, subscribe, hit a thumbs up. We got new merch, new Pac City hats. We also have other Hawks gear and other custom stuff. Visit our sponsors. Links are in the show notes and at the end of the show. And with no further ado, with that all out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and bring the guys in. We got Chris with us today, representing the A. And we got Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Yo, what's up? What to do?
Not a whole lot. Your volume's a little low. I don't know if it's just me. How do y'all feel about it?
You say what?
Nah, you sound good. That was
testing. 1, 2, 3.
Nah, but everybody's good. Anyway, so we got a couple of weeks in us. There's definitely some storylines and some real traits of teams being developed. What are y'all seeing as the season starts? Mike?
Okay. As the season starts, just being a step slow, in my opinion, that and what I kind of figured with Trey, that he'll have to adjust basically the calls going towards the basket. I know a lot of people focus on the ones for him stopping on a dime. I've always said it's not a foul, well, not like a flop or anything like that. It is a foul, but he does have to adjust on the ones like not getting his calls when he going to the basket. And it's not just him, but I think I think we did a better job of it last game, not allowing those no calls trickle down to affect the other end of the court.
Yeah, and that's great observations. I mean, because what I'm seeing developing is Jekyll and Hyde situation where we look like world beaters at home, and then we look not so good on the road where the intensity is going on. But now, do we blame? Do we play the blame game and say it's the refs and all this, or do we blame the team and say, hey, that defense is not looking good, the energy's not looking good, the shooting is way off?
I mean, I really just think it's 7 games. Well, at the time it was 6 games, and now it's 7 games. Where we have to remember this group didn't really play last year. Like, this is the first time they've all actually been together and quote unquote healthy. Nobody's rickety right now. So I just think it's a matter of just that part more so than anything. Now, the intensity thing, that could always worry us from time to time or whatnot, but I just think it's a matter of just getting used to it and getting back to where they were a year ago, because now they have everybody. They have Cam out there every night now. Hunter is out there every night now.
Do you like the role that Cam has established? Like he seems to be the spark plug on the second team. Would you like to see him in the starting lineup at any time in the future?
I wouldn't want him in the starting lineup. The only reason I would want him in the starting lineup is if we have a player missing in the starting lineup that he has to play. Because right now you need him coming off the bench to play not just offense, but also on the defensive side. He's the leader on both of those sides of the ball with the rest of the people coming off the bench. Because again, Kevin eventually is going to get back into it. And, we still got Big O's that's going to be coming back. Lou is getting into the swing of things. I mean, everybody had slow starts last year too. A lot of that was precipitated because they were hurt. But I just think right now it's 7 games into the season.
No, and I agree with that.
It's how you finish. So,
and I agree with that. So let me ask you this: like, are we still confident that this is the roster that's going to take us to where the Braves took everybody last night? I mean, is this the championship roster, the final product, or are there still some tweaks? I mean, it's just I can't help but think that we do look totally different team at home than we do, and also when Clint Capella plays a little longer, we look a lot better.
I agree with that. Go ahead.
I don't. I mean, it's only 7 games, so like Chris said, I can't necessarily say we played better
Is this the roster though?
on the road. As far as the roster goes, yeah, I believe they can. It's just a matter of them to. What's that?
Because doesn't it seem like injuries, like when we have a couple of people out, we play better? Like Herter was out last game.
Herter was out last game. That came out of nowhere for me. I didn't expect that. Last thing I heard before that game that it was only like double O that was on the report. But I can see why you'll say that. You know, that plays into your narrative all the time about probably too many players and everything like that. Why certain guys, but I'm leaning towards the fact that we had multiple guys have off-season surgery. And as Chris alluded to as well, is that actually like the first time all of them playing together in a sense, and Double O's not there right now either. So it's going to be a time period of him in a sense getting reacclimated with that second unit. You know how he plays with Cam or something like that. You know he got a little rapport with Lou. You know Lou just does well in the pick and roll with that position though, and you had Double O back there, but I believe that they can. It's just gonna take time. You know me, my crazy prediction and everything like that. So I'm like, bro, y'all tripping. We we only got like 5 more games we able to lose, man.
Right. And I think we could get definitely over there, and we can also add Chris's to it. Chris, what do you think of this roster? I mean, do you see any fears of having too many good players? Is this a cry for a move before the trade deadline?
It's never going to be about having too many. You can never have enough too many players. It's a matter of fit. You know, you always have to remember that. And that goes to coaching as far as that goes. It goes to discipline. Bogey's talking about, try not to do the one-on-one stuff because what did I say for 2 months last year? The only team that can beat the Hawks is the Hawks, right? I said that for 2 straight months before the playoffs started. But I will say this: eventually, there's going to be an ebb, tide, and flow, and we're probably going to start seeing less of Solomon Hill on the floor, and we're going to start seeing Jalen on the floor a whole lot more. I do predict that because at a certain point, and even with Kevin's minutes, I think that Solomon, he's going to stay on the team and he's needed on the team. But as far as getting deeper, I believe that's going to be a change that we will see eventually. I think
so. Solo only sniffs the court because of injury. Snell only played last year because of injury. The only reason why Solo played this season is because Gallo wasn't playing. As soon as Gallo came back, we saw no more Solo. So the question is, it's still going to be rare, because is JJ going to cut into Gallo minutes at some point? I don't know. That's going to be a tough thing to do. But that's the key there is Gallo, if Gallo is healthy. But I agree with you, Chris. I mean, JJ needs to take Solo time. I don't even want to see Solo out there.
That's all I'm saying. I know. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, Solo don't really need to see the floor at a certain point. Whatever little minutes that are left for everybody, let's start getting the rooks a little bit as you can. I mean, we are so deep, but that's the reason that you are deep. So what happened last year won't affect us as much this year because, like, literally half the team has to get hurt for us to have a real dent. Like last year, because we have so many players in each position this year. So
right. Well, I mean, it's interesting that the critique of it being too many players is to play one more player that hasn't even gotten a lot of playing time in Jalen Johnson, who I agree. He should be getting some playing time if he's in our future. Or at least kick the tires. There's definitely times where I'd like to see him in there, especially early on in the season.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I mean, and so as we look around, it has only been 7 games, but it has only been 7 games. But there's definitely in the rear view, I'm seeing the Heat, I'm seeing the Knicks, I'm seeing
everybody.
I'm seeing everybody. I'm seeing Charlotte, I'm seeing the Wizards. They all got better, and the Heat may be one of the better teams in the league at this point. With the play of Bam and the play of Hero, 25 points off the bench is nothing to just sneeze about. Their defensive intensity, they have a lot of things, and we kind of factored them in when we talked about the East, and I'll go ahead and pull it up. But are we going to have to change any of our rankings? I mean, because at this point, I don't even know if the Nets are involved in the top 3 teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's tough. I gotta wait still, man. I gotta wait.
I just said, the Bucks are. I don't know as of lately because I just hadn't been paying attention. But I think the last time I saw the Bucks were under 500. They were a champion.
They dealing with injuries too, though.
Miami did add, Lowry, but other than that, from last year, they're almost basically the same team, and they were touted real big last year too, and they didn't win the division. We did. Yeah. So
Heroes stepped up for Miami so far. I just throwing that in there, but Heroes been playing big off the bench, playing well and consistent. I'll say that the Celtics are there, but they just keep losing.
I don't know if they're there. They look like they're playing.
I don't think the Celtics are there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like basketball. But that's what I'm saying. You can call it bad basketball, but I feel like they're there though in all their games. Bad basketball is like what I've seen plenty of years of the Hawks, like not being in games, getting blown out often or whatever. But I mean, Tatum and Brown have them in games every game. I mean, I think they've probably been in the most overtimes in the league so far in just this short amount of period of time. It's just they keep losing. But that's probably where the Marcus Smart stuff come in. I ain't turning to a Celtics show real quick though, but he talking about them passing the ball. But I think that's just probably in those late moment situations where they need to make an extra pass more so. But I'm not watching them like that, so that's just my kind of takeaway in a sense. But I'm just trying to say because in a sense, like it's a lot of jumbled up, man. Like it's just a lot of teams jumbled up. I can even see
anything to like
that's my main point right there. It's just, it's a lot of teams. It's a lot jumbled up right now, man. Because the Bucks, they looking weird, but at the same time, they've been having injuries. I think Middleton and Drew just missed their last game again. So,
think of this as a prediction of how the playoff seeding is going to go. Do y'all still see something like this happening, or is this something that y'all see happening, or do y'all see something different?
Man, that can happen, man. Like I said, I more so probably have to wait to Christmas
before you start changing your alignments.
Yeah, before I can give a better projection because right now I need to see some stuff start to pull away a little bit, settle in a little bit because I mean you don't even have the it's not 9 and 10 in there, so 9 and 10 I'm about to say shoot the Cavs and Wizards.
Yeah,
the Wizards, right? So
I got the Wizards, but I don't have the Cavs. I mean, the Cavs are way down there.
And then you got the Pacers.
Yep.
And then, I mean, the Raptors can even probably get a play in. So, as I'm saying, it's jumbled
up. Crazy, right? So are we
the reason I say what I say as far as this on the talent side of things is that guys that haven't regressed. I don't understand completely if all of a sudden they were trash, but just like last year, I said John didn't regress. Trey didn't get worse.
John looks better.
But get better. You see what I'm saying? And
John looks better. John looks better.
Together. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And you saw, I mean, Bogey played really well the other night, right? And, again, everybody don't have to have the ball to be effective necessarily. Like John, it isn't like John doesn't have to have 20 and 10 every night, but John just has to be John every night. And John alone gives us an opportunity to win all of our games anyway.
Chris, you bring up a great point because that's exactly what I see Bam Adebayo doing.
I'm about to say he do, but he don't. You know what I'm saying? It need to average out to be that way. But like an example, and I want to give a moment. I hope we got enough people here to realize it and appreciate what I'm about to do. Is that yes, John Collins has been playing very well. He's elevated his game in the way that I feel like that he could. I mean, I can be critical still on his post or whatever, but it's all catch and shoot. As long as he tried to just catch and shoot, he's playing to his strength and his money and his percentage great though. But I do wish that he can able to put it down a little bit better against consistent matchups, you know what I'm saying, when he catch it on the block. Just give us some more, like, bro, like you got Gallo on your team, like really, that needs to be his assignment. I think at one point how Vince Carter was just working with Cam to try and get Cam straight or something like that. Man, Gallo and JC need to be like this all times at practices or whatever. And JC need to just be working with Gallo on just backing down, post moves, spinning off the contact, just really playing down in there. Because if we can get that from JC, man, that's talking about.
Well, we're close, is what you're saying. But let me bring in Damon. What's going on, Damon? We're kind of talking about after a week. Are we, are we thinking the Hawks are now in the middle of the pack, or do we still see this roster being, an elite roster when the playoff time comes?
Oh, we're still an elite roster. We're just going through. People still trying to get their feet on them, still trying to get in the groove, get these shots falling. See, we saw a lot of stuff that we didn't normally see, especially at the end of the season. Bogey not being able to get no buckets recently, and that really stood out to me because I know it was a couple games he only took like 5 shots, and I'm like, wow, that's not like him.
Remember, Bogey was hurt though. That's
what I didn't know.
Well, I don't care if he was hurt; he was playing.
And
so
what level of
if you hurt, then don't play. If you can't produce.
Well, let me ask y'all this: what level of excuse? What level of excuse are we going to give the guys playing when you see the way the refs have been? It seems like we're getting a lot of ticky-tack calls on our big man. And on the other end, that we are literally getting just jumped. I mean, I've seen full-on pushes on screens when they call any little thing on us. And I know it's biased because, I'm a Hawks fan, but at the same time, it's been a bunch of games that I've watched, and it's kind of like, man, it seems
it's noticeable. It's noticeable.
It doesn't seem like they're doing it. Like, because I don't care if if the refs decide for both teams to play rough, that's fair. If they decide to call ticky-tacky for both teams, that's fair. But when it seems like one guy just John Collins just barely makes a move and he gets called for an elbow in the face, and then other guy literally throws an elbow and doesn't get called, it starts to get annoying.
Well, when Trey got that for grazing against the ref, I was already like, okay, this is how it's going to be the whole season.
Well, let me refine that. So mentally, as a unit out there, are we getting off our game when we're in those situations? Are we letting the refs affect our play to where we are losing road games?
Yes, and it's dumb as hell to me, man. It don't make any sense. I mean, as far as what I've seen in some games, to the extent of us losing the way we've lost, even though it's been a short amount of games. But yeah, man, like we just saw this team in the playoffs, man, like win more games on the road. Win the first game 1 of each round on the road. Their coach told them, and they understood before going into the playoffs that you weren't going to get any calls. And it's just like, I don't know, what do y'all expect? Y'all just came into the season and just completely
changed it all up.
Yeah, and I don't get it. So that's my take.
I mean, it's been effective enough for Nate to mention it, so it is there. But I think it's something that they can get through. I mean, again, they're all professionals. I know they're young, but they're not that young anymore, and they've been there now, and they know that also they do have the target on their back now. They're just not a bunch of guys to get. These are the Atlanta Hawks, who are a contender in the Eastern Conference now. So they have to expect that they're going to get hit in the mouth a little bit coming into this year because they trounced everybody, and a lot of these teams are playing really well right now because they kind of have to. They got to prove themselves a little bit because a lot of these teams were like bottom. They were at the bottom last year. So
and it is a long season. And when we get into like the Januaries and the Februaries, a lot of teams have given up and we'll start going on runs and the team will gain confidence and things will start to click. And that's where that's where a lot of that stuff will be made up. But there is a makeup that can be developed in this first week. And I think like we got to break this habit of letting things affect us, because if we, like Chris says all year long, all last year, the only team that can beat us, and this is how I feel, if we play our game, if we have sets that we run, and if we play intensity on defense, we can play with anybody. And we have someone that helps us at the end that can close a game on the offense and make smart decisions. So we got all the components to win a close game.
That's the thing. Well, let me say something about the foul calling. I think that I think them changing the rules at the NBA level, I think that was dirty because, those guys in their 20s, Trey and them, they conditioned to get those fouls. They've been playing that same way for their whole life. So I think it's kind of unfair to just change this rule in one off season, and now you got to take these dudes who've been playing ball the past 10, 15 years. Now what was a foul to them is no longer a foul. So now you got to get them conditioned and trained to learn those are no longer fouls.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You only go looking for fouls when you know you can get them. How do you know you can get them? Because you've been getting those calls since you've been playing. But somebody like
the
me,
NFL too. This is like
drastic
one season to another.
But somebody like me, I grew up watching 80s basketball.
This is
a lot of these cats ain't grow up watching 80s basketball. Those ain't fucking fouls in the 80s. All that shit they've been getting the past 10, 15 years. Those are not fucking fouls.
But this is great for me. So overall,
same time, though, well, I was just gonna say, like, you don't even have to go to 80s basketball. You can just talk about right now a majority of players. So you take all the players. Majority of players don't get to play in that type of NBA. Majority of players don't get to play in Trey Young's or James Harden's NBA driving to the basket and stuff like that and getting those calls and seeing the line like that. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, we got players on our team that don't get foul calls. John Collins don't get the whistle or treated the same way as Trey Young. So at the end of the day, bro, as like coming from a more average player or normal, you're like, bro, whatever, man, screw it. You know, it's like it just kind of levels the playing field, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, from like I want our guy and it to benefit us and stuff. Because if we didn't have Trey Young, but we really probably would really love it. We would.
There's two different issues here, because like the first one is something that I do like, and that's the overall physicality of the game where contact is going to be allowed again. That's one thing that's understood, and I like it. It's not just an automatic offensive foul. There's a lot of leeway with the refs. I'm enjoying that part of the basketball. What I'm talking about, where it seems like, is that they're calling a lot of ticky-tack fouls on, especially John Collins, where he's in foul trouble really early, and they're always questionable calls. And that's all I'm saying is like the when it comes to the excuse for the Hawks, getting off of their game. I see it, but I, as a fan, I should be the one frustrated, not them on the court. Like they should not be frustrated. I've seen them very frustrated, and I've also seen KD frustrated enough to throw the ball into the stand. So there's got to be some frustration with the contact level.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, the question, the thing that gets me frustrated is just with referees is consistency. So that's the thing. Are you consistent? So if it's consistently ticky tack, or if it's consistently, you're letting stuff go. That's it. I can't just have things be let go the last couple plays, whether it was down on the other end or my end, and then a few plays later, you call, something that wasn't called earlier or whatnot. That's where, the frustration and stuff should come in, and that would be understood. But other than that, the players, man, they shouldn't be getting that upset. I mean, I've seen John Collins getting more upset than needed be. I've seen DeAndre Hunter. Yeah, we saw that. Him getting the tech. I kind of put it on Trey.
Because they be getting fouled, man.
Yeah,
I mean, they do, but at the same time, though, they
got to put it behind him and play.
I put it.
Well,
I'll be critical, man, because Trey has to. It starts with him. Trey has to stop doing this. You know what I'm saying? So much. He has to stop doing this. This is on 2K, bro. You feel me? Like it drives me crazy now. With his mouth guard and stuff like that. But anyway, man, he has to stop complaining, man, because it does trickle down to the rest of the team, bro. Like, I mean, Kevin Huerter and stuff mentioned it in the playoffs when they was talking about the benefit of Trey's mentality and how he was being and everything like that, and they would feed off of that too as well. I feel like they can negatively feed off to as well, and kind of unconsciously start doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So, and I feel like he did a better job of that last game.
Yeah, he has tough skin for everything except the refs.
Well, hopefully Nate McMillan was going through when they was doing these scrimmages preseason and in training camp. Hopefully they was going through that, doing them fouls, not getting those calls. But like I said, you see KD getting upset, like I said earlier, because these dudes have been trained to think that is a foul. And they've been getting those calls for 10
plus
years now.
A decade. That's a long time.
It's kind of hard to just come in and be like, you know what? even though he
Go
smacked him on
outside
the
and play.
arm.
Think
Even though
about
he come
targeting
on,
in the
even
NFL.
though he
Like,
fouled
what was a
me,
tackle
it's no
at
longer
one
a
point?
foul.
Not
It's hard to
anymore.
get out of that mentality in like 6, 7. It's only been what? We only played 8 games. So it's
2
hard to get
weeks.
out of that mentality when you used to getting those calls.
Right.
And I'm talking and not even speaking on the regular players, it's the superstars who missing out on those calls. Those are the ones you seeing throwing.
Well,
KD's
is KD expressing his frustration, or is he expressing his frustration in James Harden not getting the calls?
well, somebody got to be the leader.
Right.
Obviously, the coach can only say so much. So you do want to show some type of solidarity with your teammate when you know he getting fouled. You know what I'm saying? You know he getting fouled. So when you get somebody like a KD who he not even complaining, he throwing the ball in the stands.
And he also threw an elbow at a player too. I mean, a tall player
so
too.
he's saying something. And like I said, you just got to give these dudes time. Maybe they should have gradually pulled some of the foul calling
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
instead of just doing it cold turkey. Hey, right now,
the superstars are being a little hypocritical because this is playoff refereeing.
It's weak as
this
hell,
ain't
man.
playoff refereeing.
This is
I'm
playoff.
sorry, man. I would
That's
come
not
from
playoff
just an
refereeing.
overall basketball
Them
standpoint.
dudes getting fouled, bro.
But how many superstars is it though in the league? Period.
Say again.
How many superstars are in the league? How many all-stars are in the league compared to actual players in the league? To me, it's like it's gonna fall on deaf ears. Like KD, you looking weak as hell, bro. When you're one out of like what, 30 players on the court combining both teams or whatever. When probably 3 or less get those calls, and the rest of them like just laughing, bro. Like it is what it is, bro.
Let me tell you what's
the point.
I'm gonna tell you what I think. What I think is gonna happen. They're gonna make a phone call. Because the NBA is superstar driven. The NBA don't care about
Not
the
this year.
other.
It's superstar driven because of the fans though. It's gonna take the fans being basically complaining and falling away from the game because you're not seeing foul calls.
You got one right there. Lou complaining right now. So they go.
Lou ain't finna stop. No, Lou said he loves it. What he doing is that he's upset about from a fan point of like in the game. He like, he want to call and free throws, but overall basketball wise, I think the majority of people love it though.
I think overall, this shit is terrible.
No, basketball is a contact sport. That's
I think the fouls, bro. Some of the fouls they're not calling is fucking blatant hacking, bro. It's hacking, and then when they show the replays, they're hitting the dudes, man. And I'm talking on both sides, not just the Hawks.
Listen,
right?
That's what I'm saying. So you have to ask yourself: is the game a contact sport or not? And then it's I don't know. Like
what they need to. Well, they also need to say.
Look, when I referee basketball, it was about advantage and disadvantage. If a defensive guy did something that gained an advantage, that's when you called the foul. If he did something and it didn't gain an advantage, then you just let it go, or else you'd be blowing the whistle the whole goddamn time.
The same thing the NFL going through right now with a fucking catch. What the fuck is a catch? Okay, you see what I'm saying? You got to catch the ball. You got to hold the ball. You got to fall down with the ball. You got to complete the play. I'm asking the NBA. I'm asking the NBA, what is a foul?
A foul is when you hit when you disrupt the person's momentum or body part that dislodges the ball or forces them to not shoot in their own rhythm.
I don't know about that. We need to see the actual definition because that ain't what's being called on the court.
But that's what I'm saying. So what are you talking about though? Because let's take our own player, Trey Young, when he drives to the goal. Because I said this before the season. Those are the ones he's gonna have trouble with. When he drives to the basket, you're saying that's a foul. I understand if somebody might reach across and go for the ball. You kind of you slap down, that's like an automatic whistle. I mean, you probably get all ball, chances are it's going to be a whistle. But a lot of times players don't swipe down on Trey. What they do is they just get there and there's contact and Trey gets the bump and he shoot it. As a Hawks fan, I love it. It's an and one, we go to the line. But as a basketball player, bro, that is not a foul. A lot of times, you know what I'm saying? That's just like in a sense. That's the
problem. So hold on. What the refs really need to get right now is the blocking. What I see a lot of is a lot of people just shimmying over at the last second in front of offensive players and getting that call.
That for years.
That is the call that they need to rectify.
Because outside that restrictive area and they feet set.
to get a charge, that person's supposed to be planted for like a second or like a half a second. He's supposed to be there before, and they're giving a lot of leeway to the defensive players. And if you want to clean it up down there, that's the one that they can do systematically.
But Lou, they don't care about cleaning up fouls, man. They don't care about that. If it wasn't for Steve Nash and the guys complaining about the what's a basketball play, this never happened.
I don't agree with that. Referees complain about. I bet you coaches
what Nash
complain all the time.
Came back to haunt him. So what Nash said last season came back to actually hurt him.
Hell yeah, it did. Yeah, that's why. Because what is Nash doing
that's
now?
Funny. I just want to laugh at that, man.
Yeah, and what is Nash doing now? Complaining about James Harden not getting no calls.
But James Harden though, bro, a lot of his fouls do be lame though, bro. Like, and they're not like I'm sorry, like I'm just keep it real. Like, if I was a Nets fan, Harden fan, like yeah, you're like, oh man, this is crazy. He needs to, but come on, man, you got to give the defender. What I would say is the NBA got a lot like how a defensive back, if you want to go NFL, compares to much like checking a receiver. Like it has to be so much mirroring. That's why, you know, the defenders in a sense kind of changed, and it's so many more of your Scotty types or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But it's just too hard or whatever to just literally mirror players. And that's why a lot of these players do be doing whatever they want to on the court offensively, bro. Like that's almost impossible to just mirror a guy that can Steph Curry shoot from anywhere, handles out of this world, you know what I'm saying? And you telling me that even when we meet at a certain point simultaneously, it's a foul for him? Like that's bull. Like I can't do nothing with it. So basically all they're doing is a lot of times is taking away that simultaneously point. You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna say? Yeah. That and then the extra, and to me that gives that makes it a lot more fair in a sense. So give you more of a chance in playing defense and guarding. Just allow me to correctly cut him off.
And what they need to do, they need to put out, and I don't know if they did it already with the teams and stuff, is what is a foul. So
they hire referees to come work with them all season for
the offensive player. The offensive player initiating contact is no longer a foul. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly. It's no longer an automatic foul. Now it can either be one of three things. It can either be the offensive foul, or it could be a no call, or it could be a defensive foul.
So you didn't answer my question. Initiating contact, is it a foul? Yes or no?
It could be one of three things.
But initiate means something in itself right there. So if you're saying initiate, that means that I'm bringing the contact to the offensive player.
Yeah, you know how like
but it depends. Because if you're doing a Euro step, you're initiating. If you're doing a Euro step, you're initiating. And if you make contact,
but when Trey driving the ball, though, I feel like Trey's initiating, and a lot of times Trey gets the foul call from him initiating. And to me, that's not a foul. If the defensive player without the ball, that's why I was saying to you, focusing on that word initiate. If the defensive player initiates the contact, then yeah, it's a foul. But I feel like on those drives or whatever, Trey is initiating the contact a lot of the
right.
times.
And I agree with that. That's where I was going with it. So like Trey, when he drives, most of the time he initiate that contact usually on that shoulder, right? On that right shoulder.
Which is when he go left. What I agree with you train as a good offensive player to do.
Which is why Jimmy Butler's crushing it this year, because they're not giving.
What I'm saying is they should have put that out, and that's why I say I don't know if they did, but that's something. The offensive player initiating contact with the defensive player is no longer going to be a foul. Okay, obviously, if the defensive player don't swipe down or nothing, they should have put that out, and then that's when you go to Trey as Nate McMillan and say, hey, if you're going to do that move, they're not calling that. So you need to be ready to either make the shot or pass the ball. But you notice that's when Trey usually get frustrated. When he does that drive and he don't get that call, then just like Mike said, he go just like this. He'll stop, look, he go like this, then he turn his head and look while the ball going the other way. And, he laid down the court. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. That's where I was going with that. Well, right there. We got to
play through contact, but let's get into the So we're going to see if the NBA is going to be able to rectify this foul situation, or be able to fine tune what it is a foul and be able to tell everybody about it. We'll see if they actually do that. But I want to the last thing that we talk about to be about the Braves winning a championship, and does this alleviate any of the the burden, if you will, the I don't know what it is, but there's this angst, and I'll let Chris get into it a little bit more to introduce it, but like this angst that it is to be a Braves fan when you're just watching your team do well. It seems like no matter how far they get until they win a championship, it wasn't well enough, and you just throw it onto the curse. Is that legitimate? Is that justified? And should we move forward with that same mentality, or should we try to break the chains using this and the Hawks and the United and how good everybody else is, Georgia included?
No, just play.
Come on.
Here we go.
But Chris, what do you think, man?
So you threw me off there. So I wrote an article October 31st. It was based off of Dansby Swanson's interview, where he grew up in Georgia, grew up in Marietta, Atlanta fan of all the teams and everything. He's going to live and die an Atlanta sports fan. And then last night, after the 3-run homer from Soler, there were people where I'm not going to get excited yet. The man has hit one of the biggest postseason home runs in Braves history or really playoff history, period. And people are like, ho hum, I'm just wait and see what the ending will be, instead of being hyped and enjoying it and all that. So it's a stigma of going back to saying that there's a curse on things of that nature, and somehow the Astros again are going to come back. So I wrote this article. It's entitled, "How Long Will You Insist on Being Miserable About Atlanta Sports?" Because again, with Atlanta sports fans and the fan base, for years, it's a matter of, more so than any other, we have that dark cloud of we're just never going to do anything. No matter if we do something, we're not going to do anything. And the other part of that is, yes, we don't have as many championships as some of these other cities or whatnot, but that doesn't mean we haven't been good in the spectrum of your however many decades a team has existed. And you do have a legacy for each of those franchises. And my biggest point has always been, if your only criteria is the team has to win a championship for you to follow them, then you can't follow Atlanta sports, and you're putting yourself into that misery category on your own. That's a choice, when you could have been a Saints fan because they have a Super Bowl, or a Patriots fan because they have a Super Bowl, or a Giants fan because they have 3 World Series in the last 15 years, or whatever team that has one, rather than sticking with your team because you want to be a fan of that team. You enjoy rooting for that team, and you know that whatever happens from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, you're a fan of that team. And they might not do it this year, but next year, it's always that next year. And eventually you got to be that, because see, last night, there's a whole lot of people that did not enjoy that world. They won the World Series last night, and there's still people like in denial that it even happened. And some people, they really didn't enjoy it because some people really, they didn't want it to happen. Right? They really just didn't.
We're not talking about the haters, though.
No expectations
and Chris, and I'm not gonna lie though, because like this is me as a fan, and I think it's sports is like a ball and chain to me. That's how it should be. Like no matter what, no matter where you move, like you got to root for your home team, and you got to be there for them and all that stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, the agony is real, because like I moved to a different state, The Falcons were really good. They were in the Super Bowl. I wasn't able to brag and boast. I was able to enjoy the games as they were winning, and I definitely wanted them to win. And when I got to the Super Bowl, when you watch the game, you just stoic. You're stoic. And then when it finally got to 28-3 and you're in the second half, you're like, oh my God, they might do this. As soon as you start to talk shit, they let you down in a big way. And it's not all sports, but it is a culmination of things that lead to the angst that doesn't allow certain fans of certain age to enjoy it. I mean, there's some fans
that agony, because that's real. I was there. I sat in that seat after the Patriots came all the way back and won, and I was sitting in that same seat. I was with people and everything. We were all there. I was in that seat for 15 minutes because I couldn't believe that we had lost that game. However, we're still Super Bowl contenders going into the next season, as far as I was concerned. We did make the playoffs and everything the next year. But I guess my biggest point is that you can't let the past take the present away from you. Just like when the Hawks win the championship for the first time.
I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? We traded Dominique. People are traumatized. They stopped watching basketball for the Hawks forever after that.
What I've learned is
people stopped watching. We got swept. People stopped watching. But when all of a sudden last year happened, there were people in denial for the whole season, basically, because they didn't think it should happen, basically, didn't want it to happen, couldn't believe it was happening. And we were 2 games away from the finals last year. And here we are now. There's people already have quit this season after 6 games before we won the other night. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So,
what I've learned is to get on the internet. But what I've learned is, as a Falcons fan or as an Atlanta fan, I've learned to get on the internet and just talk mad shit anonymously. And it's awesome because it just goes out into the air. And I just say all the good shit that I want to happen for the Hawks, and I just put it out there, and then I just run back and take as I watch the game.
Be able to do that, win or lose. Like even if your team lose and Monday morning comes and the Falcons lost for whatever reason against the Philadelphia Eagles, we'll throw that out there. You're still going to the water cooler and defending your team. Just like all those Bulls fans, I'm a Hawks fan here in
Georgia. Unless they do something stupid.
And I had to defend my Atlanta Hawks against everybody. I didn't care.
Chris, let me ask you also this. Let me ask you this also. There's always like crazy circumstances that causes us to lose. It's never just like, oh, we got beat by the better team. It's always like, no, we were even dominating that series and we fucked it up. Like we literally fucked it up. Like, or messed it up. I apologize if we want to keep it a PG show, but no, like seriously, we messed it up, and it's always like, how does that even happen? It's like a 1 in 100 times, probability of something like that happening, and that's how we lose. I remember when we had the bases loaded against the Cardinals, and the pop-up thing was miscalled. Like I'm just telling you, it's always something like that where you're just like, God,
people getting pulled off the base in the World Series against Minnesota.
Exactly with Ken Herbeck. That's what I'm saying. It's never just like, hey, we got beat. It's always like, we were still the better team.
Well, that's the other thing that I mentioned in my article. Make sure y'all go check it out. I posted it on the Facebook page and everything.
Well, we got a couple more minutes.
But it's called "How Long Will You Insist on Being Miserable About Sports?" But I mentioned in my article, it's the point of seeing that old person that's 85 years old in the wheelchair that the commentators are talking about that finally gets to see the Cubs in the World Series. The Cubs were never going to the World Series. Or the Boston Red Sox finally breaking the curse of the Bambino. Those Red Sox were never winning the World Series, right? And like I said, a team that was named as the Aints and people wearing paper bags over their faces so they can't be identified, but that one year it all came together. And the only way that meant something is that people believe. When you don't believe and you're just casual about it, it don't matter one way or the other. And that's what a lot of people experienced last night instead of people were crying. People at the Battery. Y'all saw Truist.
It meant something, and I know that.
Can I comment on this for a minute, man? Because I hear what Chris saying, but I want to give another opinion on this. You know what I'm saying? I feel what he's saying, but the thing like Chris thinking it would be the thing that we all are a monolith. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has the same emotional makeup. Everybody thinks the same. Their personality is the same. Everybody operates the same way with the same mindset, and that ain't the case. Well, can we agree that our relationship with teams are actually relationship? It's a relationship.
I call them a ball and chain.
It's like you say, it's a ball and chain. It's a relationship. So when you come into the beginning of any relationship that you in, you're not gonna certain shit gonna happen during the course of the relationship, gonna have you thinking and moving different about the situation. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna react the same to certain things that she do and say at the beginning of a relationship as you do 2 years down the line, 4 years down the line, 6 years down the line, because certain things that you've seen have got you in a mindset where I can't do that. No, I can't react the same way because this has potential happening. And I'm having to protect myself from myself. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Not that I don't want to be all in emotionally or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? I got baggage because I'm in this relationship. And it's been a long-term relationship. This relationship now been going on since a child. You're talking about people that's been with these things since a child, dog. So in this relationship,
it's my longest relationship.
Yeah, it's my longest relationship ever been in. You know what I'm saying? And it's the most abusive relationship ever had. You know what I'm saying?
That's why most people.
You know what I'm saying? But
Doesn't make it
it's
special.
special. It's still, hey, it's one of them situations where I can't live without it. But at the same time, it's certain things that I can't do that I used to do. I can't react a certain way that I used to react because of the simple fact I just got to protect myself against the hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We can't sit here and act like, man, that when we was look at that Super Bowl, emotionally and mentally, that shit really affected us, our person. That affected our person. I'm talking about, I was salty for about a damn week. A bitch couldn't say nothing to me that really got really on my bad side. You was almost like you was asking for a fight. I was that much
I almost
hurt.
got into a fight after the game.
Yeah, it
That's
actually
funny,
affects us emotionally. So
that was
I
pretty
hear what you're
bad,
saying,
though.
and that's whenever you thinking like Chris thinking, that's the like having the rose-colored glasses on all the time. You know what I'm saying?
It's
No,
not
I
that.
ain't
It's
gonna.
not that because again,
It's
I can
close to
also
it,
be
Chris.
on
It's
both
close to
sides,
it,
man.
Chris.
Hold on.
Wait. I'm just saying I can also be on both sides. Of course, I'm always going to have some bias, but I'm also a realist too. But the thing of it is, it's like I'll see this stuff here. This is from 1980 right here. You see what I'm saying? I'm never changed. I'm not all of a sudden going to change my affiliation to another team just because of the times I've been disappointed with my team. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of I know that it's going to eventually happen, but if it don't, I'm good with that because I made a decision that I want to be this fan. Just like Detroit Lions fans still are sticking with that team, even though they're never going to win.
Brown fan.
When the last time? Hey,
But let me ask
when's
y'all
the
a
last
question.
time you met an
But let me ask
optimistic
y'all a
Detroit
question.
Lions fan? When
But
last
hold
time you
on.
met an
But
optimistic
they're
Detroit
still
Lions
Let me
there.
ask
They're
y'all a
still
question. Let me
going
ask
to
y'all
the
a question.
games, though. They're
But let
still
me ask y'all a
there.
Yeah,
question. As we've gotten smarter in understanding how a good business is ran and how a bad business is ran, when a team has like a bad GM and a knowingly bad owner or something like that, we have the right to be like, no, I'm good.
Of
I'm
course.
good on that.
And remember,
Yeah,
Luke, you know
like
what I say
the
all the time.
Falcons.
What are the 5 things that you need to make a franchise successful? You need to have an owner that wants to win and does what's necessary. You have to have management that makes wise decisions over a long period of time. You have to have a good to great coach, good to great players, and you have to be healthy. And for a lot of our franchises, those things haven't been really there for a long time until we're starting to get there. Of course, with the Braves, we
Right.
know.
And
Hawks,
that's
we know.
why I'm getting back
United
into
is
it.
pretty good, but the Falcons
it's
are
hard to
still.
get everything to work at the same time like that. It's
But
hard
see,
to get that symmetry, man.
But my thing is like, as long as I have that, I'm good with it every year. But if we have what we had before, or what's going on sometimes with the Falcons, where they can't make the right decision, and you know that the product is suffering, you know, like it's just hard. It's definitely a difficult thing. Like with the Braves, it was always, man, if they had an owner that just wanted to spend a little bit of money, we could have really have won some real rings. You know, like
the other part of it too, you got to remember is the players are playing too. The players are out there too, and again, it's a matter of you're not just you're supporting them in what they're fighting. Just like Freddie Freeman played a decade plus and didn't go, and he was rewarded with a World Series. He could have been gone and gotten all the money in the world. And
Freddie underpaid like a motherfucker.
So they're probably going to have to give him half a Coca-Cola and everything to keep him here at this point. But
yesterday's price ain't today's price.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's like
the price of the brick just went up.
Yeah.
Freddie
was. Hey, Freddie's face is like Freddie's face is just knowing his value. Like he's just like, oh, I'm good. He's so free.
Did y'all see the post?
So carefree.
Hey, go watch the post game on MLB Network, man. Martinez,
Euphoria.
Poppy is giving him the money, boy. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
hey, that's all they was talking about. They was like, "Oh, you about to get paid." Hey, look, they had David Ortiz,
pay him the money.
Big Poppy. Hey, Big Poppy had the money machine.
Yeah.
And you see when he sprayed the money machine, on Freddie Freeman. Listen, man, I hope these boys. I was just telling my homeboy this, and speaking on the Braves, bro. If Acuna never gets hurt, we probably never go after those outfielders, dog. Bro, it's crazy. And you know what else was funny? The Hawks we was first, but just like the Braves, by the All-Star break, we was below 500 too, and did a mid-season move, making Nate in charge and made a run. And that's what I was saying, man. as an Atlanta sports fan, we may not have the championships, but bro, if you keep it 100, last 5 years as a sports city, we've been competitive, dog. You had the Falcons in the Super Bowl. You had United winning MLS Cup. You had the Hawks going to the playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals. You had the Braves just stick back.
And they're all doing it the right way. They're all doing it the smart way. The only team that I still have on the hook, is my alma mater, Georgia Tech. They're the only ones that still just have thrown
Give it up, dog. Give that shit up, man.
Ain't shit you do about that.
That's JV sports right there.
Ain't shit you do about that.
Hey, hush your mouth. Stephon Marbury came through this. Hush your mouth. Megatron came through there.
All those New Yorkers,
and Travis Benson, all them boys. But y'all ain't paying money no more. Y'all had James Force, but Matt Harprin. Man, that was a school. I love Georgia Tech back then. That was the best basketball squad. I love the boys back then. And then all of a sudden, just like one day, like the Miami Hurricanes, y'all just fell off.
All right.
Yeah. I
was talking cash shit early. I knew that shit was over with, dog. I knew it.
We're gonna sign Chris off here. Chris, man.
Once I saw that Dansby Swanson home run, dog, I was like, man, this shit is a wrap. Yo, I didn't.
That was the hardest fucking hit ball I ever seen in my life.
Chris has got to take off. So let's
go. I'm actually at work still, so.
I look at this app, bro.
Let's say bye to Chris.
All right.
We'll see him on the back end.
Do y'all
got a national TV game today.
And the Dodgers were the number 1, number 2 scoring teams in Major League Baseball, bro. We out-homered the Astros 11-2.
And
bro,
Brewers, too.
They got shut out twice.
Yeah, and
they were the number 1 hitting team in baseball, bro.
And the Brewers were the hottest team. So I mean, we beat 3.
And you know how Atlanta fans. And you know how Atlanta fans do. You know they went back on ESPN, went back all the little ESPN predictions. They start lighting their ass up about the predictions, man.
And if you think about it, Milwaukee gave us the toughest battle because their pitching kept them in those games. Those games were way closer than all the other series.
Yeah, but you know what? I was never nervous in that game. I was nervous with the Dodgers because I knew what happened last year, how we folded last year, and it felt like it was going in the exact same order, going up 3-1, then losing to make it 3-2. I was like, man, I hope this shit don't happen again because the Dodgers got firepower, but what people don't also know is we won the World Series injured like a motherfucker. Well, we didn't have our best player, we didn't have our best pitcher. You know what I'm saying? And I think people miss out on that too. Cause remember, Morton went out in Game 1. He was our
not
best
even
pitcher.
Morton. Not even Morton. What about the Mike Sakura kid? I mean, he's every time he comes.
Soroka
went out early.
Yeah.
that's
So
what I'm saying.
So we was full strength. And we still won. That's amazing, man.
He played without Mike Soroka for the last 2 years. It was almost like he ain't even really part of the team.
Yeah, he always hurt. He always
hurt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he early in the year.
Well, he probably spent more time in AAA than Atlanta.
Well, let me bring it back to
nobody overcame more than we did by far, man. We had the most carnage by far.
Hey, well,
that's what I'm trying to say, man. Because don't we got a national TV game today?
Yeah, let me bring it back to the Hawks so we can close it out and talk about that because we do have an ESPN game today. So
please let us win this game, Jesus.
Forever.
Y'all see the beauty in that though?
So let me ask y'all, this is a big game. This is a game that
This ain't no damn big game. We're gonna hit this shit a mile by 20.
Hold on.
Watch what I tell you.
Let me just set this up real quick. So with the Brooklyn Nets and
he wrote this down, man.
And
let him say this, right?
Just throw it all up. So with other teams having played games that they can mark themselves against other teams that are elite, this is one of these games that we get to mark ourselves against somebody that's an elite team. So our 4-3 record could easily be a 5-2 if we would have won that game against the Wizards, or if we would have done this or that or anything else. So with this game here, how much are you putting on it? It seems like some of y'all aren't putting that much on this game, and some of us might be. I'm putting a big on it because we have not been playing well on the road, and we have momentum from a home game. So if we go from a home game into another tough game, I expect our intensity to stay up. I expect our shooting to stay up, something that I think we've been lacking on the road. How big would you like to see a good performance, and how much would a bad performance be detrimental to starting a little skid? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first real quick. I think to me personally, it's not too big of a game. Don't get me wrong. I would love for us to get the win, but I mean, I'm still worried about why we coming out with so low energy at the beginning of these games. Hopefully, going against a KD, Harden, we come out with energy, but I don't really place it as a big game. I just hope we don't. I hope we don't lose. If we do lose, I hope we don't get embarrassed because for some reason when we get on national TV, we be falling apart. So
let me ask you this: is this a detriment to? Hold on, before I get back into just asking y'all that question, is this just to you? Is this a detriment to Hunter's personality? Because like maybe Hunter is so nonchalant out there that it kind of because he is definitely the leader on defense and he busts his ass. But is it some of his lack of verbal cues as an alpha? Is that something that's going to play into?
No,
I'm not going to put it all on Hunter. Because all them individual, they all individual players, man. I mean, it don't. I'll tell you one person that don't affect. It don't affect Cam Reddish.
No,
I'll tell you that much. Whatever Cam Reddish taking before games, he need to get that shit to everybody.
I love it. Well, Mike, what do you think? How much onus do you put on this game? Because it's not necessarily a win or loss that I'm putting on it. It's just to play well. Like if we lose by 2 or 3 or a last second play, I'm okay. I still think we're up there.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much I put on it. I just realized I know the schedule coming up. It'll be good if we win it because we got a somewhat tough schedule coming up. I think we got Utah coming soon. Utah either undefeated or just lost or whatever tomorrow night. So that's a big game. We don't want to mess around and have a 2-game losing streak. Not saying we're gonna lose to Utah, but I'm just saying that Utah ain't a cakewalk. So
here it is. If you want to look at it.
Looking at it right there, we got a little important stretch. So I guess if I'm putting on this important game, then we need to win it. It's on national TV on the road against a playoff team that we see. Yeah, we need to go ahead and go play ball, man. So I say it's a big road trip.
It's a really big road trip, and when we come home from that road trip, it's Milwaukee. So
we got Utah at home, but we got Utah twice though. We got to go see them again. So Phoenix, Golden State on the road, Utah, Denver on the road. Yeah, we want to win tonight. We want to win tonight and take care of Utah at home for sure. And then we want to go on the road and try and win. But for my prediction, we need to win all these games.
That is true. And I meant to get Chris's freaking number, but I think me cursing scared him away. So I will say it looks as if Eddie has a solid chance to still get 55. Chauncey was at 57 as well as Damon.
55 what? What you talking about? 55 what?
Wins.
I'm not mathematically eliminated or nothing.
55 what now?
Sound like the white
What you talking about?
Our predictions on our win total.
Oh yeah. Hey, when it comes to these games, let me tell y'all about these early games in the early season, man. I'm about like the mom when it comes to these games. You don't really look
hold on,
Go ahead. You don't really look for like wins. You know what I'm saying? You want them to be competitive. You want them to go out there and win. But it's really pretty much still glorified preseason, like the first 10, 15 games of the season. So you need to just see them go out there and put in. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen. Before you start talking, listen. Damn. You do that shit every time I start talking, dog.
That's you, nigga.
Listen.
I'm muting everybody. The beginning
of the season, to me, because they hardly ever play, the preseason is so fast. You know what I'm saying? And then you got players like we got Cam and we got DeAndre that was out pretty much all year. It's still pretty much like getting to, get a fill it out process the first 10, 15 games of the season. Almost like preseason to me, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna win some of them, you're gonna lose some of them, but you just want to see them go out there and try hard. You want to see them play, play good.
Are you seeing enough of that then? Are you seeing enough of that? Are you seeing enough of that in the first season? And are you seeing a difference? Are you seeing a difference on the road intensity versus the home intensity?
No.
It's like we one game we do, one game we don't. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna get more consistent with that as the year go on. That's what you want to see. You want to see the team start, angling in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? More times than not. Right now is inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? Because people coming off of vacation. You know what I'm saying? They getting paid. They wasn't really they was together, but they weren't together like that. So
It's Trey fault.
once the team, it's how you say it's Trey fault.
No. That's too like
Trey all in the commercials. He got new shoes. Trey ain't he wasn't shooting in the gym like you want.
Hey, but being honest, if you want to really be honest, these guys are human, man. That shit is gonna affect you. You know what I'm saying? So if they haven't, if they struggling because
is it gonna
of the
affect
fact
their relationship? Is it gonna affect their relationship? Is it gonna affect when they go out? Do they expect Trey to pay now? Like what? Like I'm talking about. There's a reality to this.
Not when you got 65 million and you got 125 million. Well, I got to pay. You know
But what about Double O? What about some of the other guys? What about Cam? What about Hunter? They're not there.
How I see them guys hanging in the public, I'm pretty sure that Trey show love. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna show love to none of them, but all the boys millionaire. Everybody in there millionaire. So really, ain't nothing really costing that much where you need to look out for nobody.
Well, we don't know.
It's not costing that much. Everybody that's on the team can afford whatever the hell they need.
Well, you do know, Lou, because if you drafted in the top 10, you're a millionaire off the rip. So
Day one.
Yeah. No, but you're right. But anyways, I guess
Day one.
Any last predictions for tonight's game as we're signing off? Eddie, you go first.
Yeah, we're gonna win the game by 20. We're gonna hit the shit in the mouth because styles make fights. I've been telling y'all that since last year. Styles make fights. Brooklyn style it plays to us. You know what I'm saying? To exactly what we need to go up against. You know what I'm saying? They come down there with the ISO ball shit. They don't pass the ball very well amongst each other. Make them easy to guard. You know what I'm saying? All we gotta do is get in position to get the rebound and run the ass to death. James Harden already still looking like he fat. You know what I'm saying? Looking like Larry Holmes, flabby and sick. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we just gonna go out here and do our thing, man. I think it's one of them games that we're gonna really look better than what we actually are. Pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Like we did in that Dallas game. What
about you? What about you, Damon? As we're signing out,
it's gonna be a close game. I gotta see. I can't predict shit because I gotta see the refs. I gotta see what they calling. You know what I'm saying?
This is the fun of it. We don't know any of that.
I gotta see how they gonna call it, man. Because as you seen in the earlier games, man, these calls they affect us. I mean, you're putting Collins in foul trouble. Regardless, you could say it's him or the ref, but them calls affect us big time. So I mean,
it's foul trouble.
How they gonna ref it? Now I want to see how they gonna ref it, man, because now you got Trey and Harden. Because I definitely want to see how they gonna call the same thing
on ESPN too. Jesus Christ! How many times are they gonna talk about it?
Yeah, I want to see if they're gonna call it both ways. But obviously I want us to win. But and we could. It depends on what Hawks team show up, man. One day we out here beat the Nets and then get blown out by the goddamn Magic. So right. I mean,
if he's not gonna make it a prediction, then that's no good to us here. So, Mike, what do you got? What kind of prediction you got? You're a betting man.
Mike, don't be. Mike, betting on that draft team.
Oh, bro, you already know. You want me to show y'all my lineup, man? I already got a lineup in. They got a single game, man. Nets versus Hawks.
Let me say this real quick before Mike say something. Let me tell you this: how I know when Mike really trying to make some bread, right? When the Hawks play,
he quiet.
Always. This is what he does. Mike, tell me if I'm wrong. He always find what's the mismatch for the other team, and then he go, oh, Trey guarding him? Oh hell no! I'm putting him to a tap team because I know Trey can play no defense tonight.
He already about to go.
Shit, Trey been got that.
Am I right, bro?
He get his hand on a lot of damn balls though.
Trey been playing great.
Yeah, Trey gets his hand on some balls.
Defense, man. Yeah,
Mike, well, what do you guys?
He got a stigma, but he played pretty good.
That shit, man. Mike,
as we're signing out, guys, what do we got for Mike's prediction here? Let's laugh at Mike's prediction.
Laugh at my prediction, man.
Because you had 74 wins, so I'm expecting something like a 130.
So therefore, I predict us to win. Of course, I predict us to win. I don't know about 20 or anything like that though, but I think we look like the playoff Hawks. The exciting Hawks tonight. I predict that we get big games from John Collins and Clint Capella. More so, John.
Do we get a poster dunk? Do we get a poster alley-oop dunk from JC tonight?
Yeah.
It's one of the few teams that we got to get up for that ain't getting up for us still. They still feel like they're bigger than us, even though they ain't making as far as us. So they're gonna still try to big brother us and make it seem like we smaller than them. We gonna get up for that shit. Watch that. Watch what happens.
I think Clint Capella have a big game. I got Clint Capella in my lineup, so I need him to have a big game. I ain't got JC, so I need him to have a big game.
Patty Mills is a notorious Atlanta killer.
Look, hold on. Who that down there? You see that guy?
Nice. Yeah.
You see Patty Mills?
Patty Mills is notorious. Y'all expect him to have a 20+ game.
Hey man, I do.
Yeah. He always go off. You know what I'm saying? There's something about that bastard, man. He gonna get his shit off.
I'm so glad that the thing is like I'm so glad that Kendrick Dunn is not on the Heat, because I don't even care if we lose to the Heat as long as that motherfucker don't get 30 again.
He get 25 against us all the time.
Just sleeping. I mean, he just comes to the gym. I got 25. Now I'm like, first quarter.
Hey, but John Collins is questionable, man. Y'all know anything about that? They say his foot.
Nah, but
I ain't got it in my lineup. But.
He giving people rest days and shit now. You know, he gave Kevin Herter a rest day the other day. So
who knows?
But if John don't play, y'all think we start Cam? I think we start Cam, but John don't play.
Nah, Gallo.
I think he probably start. Well, they probably would start Cam.
What about
Gallo?
Move DeAndre to the 4, but you think
Gallo?
No, I bet you they start Solo before they started Cam.
Oh boy.
Or they might slide up DeAndre and put Kevin in the starting lineup.
Solo won't never start. Got 5 people left.
All right, guys. Well, I'll keep it on real quick. This is we appreciate y'all hanging out with us for pregame. Definitely visit the sponsors. We got arcaliendesigns.com, and you have and as he bounces, we also have Originative Brand, so go check them out. We have flickwick.com at shop.flickwick.com. Eddie, you got anything to plug? Just your ideas.
Yeah, I got me and my wife have Carswell Creatives. It's on Facebook. We got a Facebook page called Carswell Creatives. Carswell spelled like my last name. Creatives spelled like it's normally spelled. We got the football tables we selling right now, and we got LeBron James tables. Any star player that you like, you know what I'm saying, or your kids, we can make your kids personalized tables. Just go to the page and check it out. Go to my personal page on Facebook. I just shared a couple that we got. We did a Baltimore Big Trust table. Got the LeBron James Space Jam table. Y'all go check them things out, man. Great presents for Christmas. Great presents for your kids, birthdays or whatever, man. So y'all go just check us out. Support the movement.
Definitely. And y'all gonna do anything for the World Series winners?
I'm on the road, man. I'll be in Washington State by Friday, man. Leaving Chicago tonight.
Nice.
So I'm just, I'll be with him in spirit.
Nice. And what about you, Mike? You got anything to plug before we bounce?
Oh man, you already know.
He's the one that brings me this wonderful
designs,
background.
Oh yeah, if you ever want, one of these pieces on an artwork or whatnot, you know what I mean? Freddie Freeman, ATL ho. The alien soul food that's behind Loot. You can check those out at arcaliendesigns.com. Shop with me, sit down with me here at the Art Embassy. See it on the shirt. That's the studio location, and yeah, man. Freelance, anything artwork commissions open right now. Graphic designs, logos, all the above. Help you with that.
Excellent. And that does it for us. That does it for us. My prediction is I do expect us to win a close game. I expect us to be able to do that. We're going to have to score 115 points or more. I am going to participate in the No Shave November, so we're going to see how bushy we can get this bad boy. So stick with us and find out. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, man. Go Hawks.